Welcome to the beginning of Realtalk. Realtalk is going to be a series that we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna have different people on the series. Hopefully, I'm gonna get my friend TK on the series. A few people are gonna help me demonstrate things. We're gonna do real talk on real topics. Obviously, putting truth to it through the Bible, and it's gonna be a great thing. First, I wanted to open up with this is a raw, raw. We're usually going to have someone that's going to videotape it and whatnot, but I just wanted to get this one out here as basically the rough draft and the beginning of to what we're going to talk about. I wanted to share that. I'm not no pastor. I'm not anybody. I'm just a normal person with real life experiences in these areas. And most of these topics that we're going to talk about, I have experience in these areas. I'm not talking from somebody with an education. I'm not talking someone that has I'm just talking from real life experiences on these topics, and just to go through a little bit of my testimony, my story, so that as opening up as we talk about these things, you kind of know who I am and where I'm coming from and from my views. My pastor just did like his little view thing on a subject, and I thought that was real good that you open something up like that so that people know where you're coming from your view on these topics as well, and you get to know the person. So like I said, growing up, I grew up in a rough environment, as most people do. It's not the best environment, but it's not as bad as I thought it was. In the middle of it, you think it's a lot worse than what it was. I mean, it was bad, obviously, but, it could have been worse. It always could be worse. Everyone's got a story. Everyone's got a testimony. And everyone's looking at it through their lens, And through my lens, it was terrible, And looking at it then, in the midst of it, it was terrible. But looking at it now, through the lens of Christ and through the lens of forgiveness and being saved and what I've done, and looking at my own stuff, that it could have been a lot worse, and it wasn't as bad. There was love there, but in the midst of it, in the middle of it, I didn't see no love. Growing up in a household where my real father wasn't around much, my stepfather and my mother, they partied on the weekends pretty heavily. When I was a young kid, they were partying all the time, but they were young, You don't see these things when you're older, but you see these things now, They were young people trying to take care of a kid. And that's why Christ says, don't have sex before marriage, and to really be on solid ground when you do things like that, because that's why bad things can happen, where dysfunctional homes can occur, and see, everything's laid out in the Bible for a reason. We think it's rules and regulations to keep us, but really it's for our own good. And you don't really see that until you see the big picture later on. But we can never ever see the big picture. So anyways, like I said, growing up, it was what it was. It was a mental abuse, physical abuse home. Seeing my stepdad hit my mom, and I get in the middle of it, and I get hit, and this dysfunction there, and always having that anger towards him, and hatred towards him, and hatred towards my mom for staying with this man, and all these different things, all these different emotions, and feeling not loved, feeling less than, going to school, and hearing, cussing all night long and arguing and having to go to school. It was chaos. It was utter and complete chaos. But today I can look at that same man that I hated, growing up, that same man that, I couldn't stand, that I love today, that I can genuinely say that, it takes a real man to even take care of someone else's kid, and he may not have did the best job, but he still loved me and he was always there for me when I needed him, and that's things through, going through Christ and going through this change and learning about myself that I see this, But it was that kind of anger, that kind of resentment that kept me out there, that kept me angry for so long. And it's only through Christ and it's only through His redemption that that I'm able to love Him and honestly, truly forgive and know see the good in everything, you know. Like I said back then, all you seen was the bad. Like I said, growing up, you know, it was rough with having those kind of emotions throughout your life, and it spills into your other to your other views and your other relationships, and you know, and then at the age of 19, losing both my parents. You know, my dad died by getting hit by a drunk driver, and my mom died 8 months later of brain cancer. So, you know, that was just one more step towards staying away from God and blaming somebody. Had to blame somebody so that I could rationalize my actions that I wanted to do. You know, but even before my mom and dad were even gone, I was already still in a bad place and arguing and creating my own chaos throughout my selfish and self-centered life. So like I said, we're going to go through a lot of different topics, and that was just a little bit of a testimony of my life, and I'll touch on other parts of my testimony of my life as I bring them into these real life situations. But like I said, this is going to be real talk, man. This is going to be truth. This is going to be raw. This is going to be life experiences. Things that we're going to hopefully help people to conquer things and to shed light on it. You know, I always like to say that, you know, this ain't a donut shop, you know, and I'm not Willy Wonka, and this ain't no chocolate factory. We're not sugarcoating nothing. It's the real deal. And Christ's guidelines, Christ's 10 Commandments, I mean, Christ's life, Christ's way of living through that Bible is for our own good. For our own good. But we don't see it that way. You know, living in a selfish world and fleshly desires, I mean, it's easily to get distracted from the computer to the phone, everything. You know, movies, I mean, just life in general, you know, relationships. Things are a distraction. And even in my 6 years of walking with Christ, I mean, I've seen distraction big time in my life through Facebook and different situations. And that's the ultimate goal of Satan. That's what his goal is to do, is to pull us away from any kind of relationship or contact with Christ. I always like to say Christ is like a girlfriend. You know, he says that we are married to him. We are his wife. You know, and it's just like like when you have a new girlfriend, you want to text her all the time. You can't wait to call her. You can't wait to hang out with her. That's how we truly need to be, you know, seeking Christ. You know, I mean, if we sought Christ like we seek a new girlfriend, I mean, we'd be amazed. You know, doing this 30-day challenge is really already a few days in has already blown my mind and brought me back to that fire. You know, getting that inspiration in my heart, getting the, you know, different thoughts and just, you know, putting them out there. It's just it's amazing what can happen just in a few 3 days of putting that relationship in Christ more and filling myself with Him and filling myself with more positive things and less of the emptying myself of these fleshly, you know, worldly things. You know, sometimes people think being a Christian is boring, but I have more fun now than I ever did when I was out there using or doing what I wanted to do. You know, I just, you know, you fill your stomach up with fleshly desires, and you're never filled. You're never filled up. You fill yourself with Christ, and you never will thirst no more. You know, there's so many truth. You know, there's a couple Bible verses that, you know, I don't know a lot of Bible verses by heart, but there's going to be a few I'm going to break down. I know that I can truly say that I just don't know them, but I live them. That I practice them. That they run through my veins. A lot of people ask me, you know, Tony, you're so passionate about Christ because He saved my life. He saved a man that was so broken, that was so bad, that was so selfish, that was so just in ruin. And He's changed my life completely. It's like I always like to say, I mean, if you were in a burning building, and a man came and lifted you up and got you out of there and saved you from, you were dying, you already had, you know, some third-degree burns on your feet, you were starting to burn, but you were saved by a man that came in there and got you. Man, you're going to tell everybody about that man. You're going to want to meet that man. You're going to want to Give him whatever you can give him to repay him back. But you'll never be able to pay him back because he saved your life. You can't save his. So all you can do is love them and be with them and be friends with them, and that's what Christ wants. That's what Christ wants. I think this thing's going to be real good. A lot of people, the way this thing came about, this Real Talk, is that people were praying, and two different people from two different realms had basically came up with the same idea of this Real Talk thing, and when one person from over here on this side of the world and this one over here that don't even know each other both said something about this, that we needed to do this, I knew it was a God thing. And that's another thing we can talk about. We can talk about how things that have changed in my life, how you know when it's a God thing. You know when it's God directing you. In my life, I like to say everything is God filtered. Everything is God filtered in my life. I pray about it. I don't just act on it. And if you got the Holy Spirit moving in you, He speaks to you and He knows. He moves your heart. So it's going to be a good session. I don't know how many sessions we're going to do, but hopefully next time Bernadette will have the video camera and we'll have some structure laid more out. But I just wanted to get this raw one out, let her look at it, and see what we can do with this. So I hope everyone has a blessed week, and I'll be looking forward to having some more some more talks with you, some more real talks from Tony P, and hopefully we get TK and maybe even get the Real Talk Master, Pastor Phil, out here to preach us something. So I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you, and God bless all.